For the next portion of our video, we're going to learn how to stack our cakes. In this instance, we've got an 8-inch and we're going to stack a 6-inch on top. The tools we're going to use are a long pointed skewer. We've got our X-Acto knife with a clean sharp blade. We have 6 to 8 boba straws. In this case, I've got 8. I typically use as many straws as the diameter of my bottom tier. So in this instance, my bottom tier is an 8-inch, so I'm going to use 8 boba straws. And I've also got a 6-inch cake pan. All right, let's mark our 8-inch for our 6-inch to fit on top. So the easiest method to do this, I've found, is to get myself a 6-inch cake pan. Okay, it's nice and dry. We don't want anything to get sticky with the fondant. And I'm going to make sure that we are pretty even all the way around here. Okay, this looks pretty good to me. And since everything's dry, nothing's sticky, I can move things around. I don't have to worry about it being stuck the second I set it down. So this is where my pointy tip skewer is going to come in handy. I'm going to use one hand to hold my pan on, and then I'm going to use my other hand to etch in a nice light line. This is going to show me when I take this off here. Can we see that? Let's see if I can get it up a little closer to you. Can we see that etched line in there? That's going to help me know exactly where my supports are going to go. So when I do my supports, I'm going to push them in from the top. And I'm going to show you exactly where I like to place them. I'm going to go one and then one directly opposite. And then I'm going to put 2 more on each side. Now I'm trying to space these out pretty evenly, but I'm also keeping fairly close. As you can see right here, I'm keeping fairly close to this line that we scored in. Okay, so I want them fairly close to the outside of the line, but enough that when I put my 6-inch on top, obviously you're not going to see them. So we've got 6 lines, and then we're going to do 2 more right there. So that's exactly how I'm going to dowel my cake. Now, all right, now staying inside the lines we've scored, this is how we're going to cut our dowels. Now, they are the boba straws, so while they are strong, they do bend and cut for us relatively easy. So I'm going to take one of the spaces I marked, and I'm going to push straight down. Okay, don't go at an angle. We want to go straight down. And you're going to push all the way down, okay, until we can't push anymore. And we're going to take our scissors, okay, and I'm basically going to grab my straw right here, okay, can we see that? Just grab the straw, okay, and I'm going to pull straight back up, okay, and this is going to give me exactly where I'm going to cut. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is continue to cut the rest using this one as a guide. I'm going to cut all the rest exactly the same length. Okay, you can see now that we've pushed our last boba straw support in. We've got all 8 of them in. They're equally spaced. They're nice and level. That's going to keep our next tier perfectly straight on top. We're going to grab our ganache now, and we're going to use that as a glue between our 8-inch and our 6-inch that's going to go on top. All right, now let's stack our 6-inch on top of our 8-inch. So I found over the years that if I can pop this 6-inch into the freezer for about 30 minutes, it's not going to sweat when it comes out. I can touch it without it being sticky, but I'm easily able to pick it up and handle it to place it on top of my 8-inch. Now I'm going to line up these 2 seams, And I'm going to stay within that line that we scored. So I kind of want to check all the way around. I want to make sure that that line that we scored is hidden. And now I'm just going to gently push down. So what I'm doing is I'm adhering the ganache to itself with two very cold but not frozen, but very cold tiers. That ganache is going to set up really quickly. If I had any ganache that had leaked out the sides, this would be a great time to go ahead and clean that up. We don't in this case. But here we go. We've got our two stacked tiers. Now I want to continue our seam hider. I guess that's what I'm going to call that right there. So let me get a little bit of fondant and let's go in and just put another one in there. Again, I've got the same mold that we used before, and I'm just pushing the fondant into the mold. So same mold we used before, and I'm going to pop it out. My cake is probably sweating enough that I do not need the water, but I'm going to put it on because it does make me feel a little bit better. Okay, and I'm going to line up my seams right here. Okay, and we're just covering. Okay, and I'm going to grab, okay, make sure everything is even. Okay, so there we are. So we've got that beautiful seam that just goes all the way up the back. And then I can just clip it right here on top. But see how nice that looks, how it hides our seam and just really gives the back of your cake a nice finished look. Now the last thing I want to do is take that same pointed dowel that we used to score the 8-inch, and I'm going to go right through both tiers into this base drum. So I'm just going to gently push down. Now when you hit this board, you might need your hammer. Okay. So just grab your hammer and don't be scared. We have everything doweled very well. And we're just going to hammer all the way down until our hammer stops. If we have any left on the top, we can grab our clippers, our snips, whatever you'd like to call them, and we'll just cut that right off. And then we can hide the little hole we've made with just a dot of fondant. So here we are. We have now completely covered our 2-tier cake in fondant. And if you'll stay with us for our next lesson, we're going to do a beautiful palette knife with some basic sugar flowers. I highly recommend that if you want to take the 2-tier cake you've just made up to the next level. And we'll talk about the things like hiding these seams in here,